So I'm going to guess that you know that there is something more to your migraines that your doctor is just not helping you figure out, right? And you want to know what that is. Well, there's actually a fairly straightforward way of going about doing that. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So if you hang out with me for just a little bit, I am going to share with you the top 5 things that I use with my clients to help identify the patterns that are giving us clues as to what is contributing to their migraines so we can more specifically target their particular issues. So my name is Dr. Tanya Paynter, if you aren't familiar with me, and I am a naturopathic doctor who specializes in migraines from a whole body perspective. And what that means is I look at the whole person, all of their symptoms, how they sleep, what their hormones are like, if they have any GI problems, thyroid, nutrient levels, all of that stuff, because all of it plays a role in migraines. So if you want to know a little bit more about me and my story, you can check me out in the description below. All right, so let's get into it. So without fail, one of the most common things I hear from everybody that I talk to that have chronic migraines that are not responding well to medications is that they know there is something else going on in their body. There's something out of whack that they need to address, and none of their doctors or specialists are helping them figure out what that is. So they're just frustrated being passed around from specialist to specialist without getting any answers and no closer to feeling better. So I'm going to show you the top 5 things that I do to help my clients figure out what exactly is going on so that we can more specifically target those things and help them heal. So number 1, migraine medication list. So all of the medications that you have been prescribed from the start of your migraine diagnosis until now, write it all down on a list. Everything that you've tried that you can remember. Then next to it, did it work? Did it not work? Did it create side effects? How did you feel with it? Did it work for a while and then stop working? Write down as much information about that as you can remember. Do the same thing for the supplements that you've tried, any gadgets that you've tried, other remedies like heat or ice, things like that. Anything that has worked or has not worked that you've tried, because all of that positive, negative, or nothing, no change, that all gives us information, right? So I can actually look at the types of medications that my clients have been on and see a common pattern. Oh, well, this is working on the neurotransmitters, or this is working on cortisol, this is working on stress, this is working on inflammation. And with that information, knowing how those medications work, we can start to hone in on some of those underlying problems that are going on for them. All right, so number 2, assess your food triggers. We're going to be doing the same exact thing. So if you know there's a particular food or foods that are triggering migraines for you, we need to figure out what that is. Why are those particular foods triggers for you? Now, in some cases, it might just be that you have a sensitivity to it. But the common migraine triggers, things like nitrates and nitrites, sulfates, histamine foods, tyramine foods, all of those actually point to the fact that there's an underlying imbalance. In some cases, it's a neurotransmitter issue. Some cases, it can actually stimulate hormone production. In some cases, it can trigger cortisol releases. It can be blood sugar. So we want to start looking at what are the commonalities in the foods that we're eating that causes triggers for us. So for example, if you are super sensitive to high tyramine foods and going on a a low tyramine diet has been helpful, then we know that there is an issue going on with how your body is able to metabolize certain neurotransmitters, because tyramine helps to break down some of or I shouldn't say it helps to break down. It actually, the enzyme that breaks down tyramine will actually break down other neurotransmitters, right? And so we're looking for those biochemical connections, those clues that help us to understand exactly what is going on from a biochemistry standpoint so that we know what pathways aren't functioning properly. So that high tyramine food trigger for you, that's a huge clue as to what's going on. So it's not a matter of, well, let's just really, throw a bunch of medications at it and see what sticks, even though I know that's the common way of going about doing it. But it's more a matter of understanding what that means from a biochemical sense. And food is basically biochemistry that we eat. So that can give us a lot of really good information, okay? So really assessing what your foods have in common. Okay, number three, and the next two, or the next three actually, will have a lot to do with symptom tracking. So that's kind of the broad category. So one of the things that we want to look at is timing of your migraine, not just time of day, but also day of the week. So in certain circumstances, I have clients who will always get a migraine either Thursday or Friday and feel awful for the entire weekend. Those are letdown migraines. What that means is that their stress through the week is helping to support their cortisol levels. When they get towards the end of the week and they're starting to relax a little bit because it's weekend time, your cortisol levels drop. Dropping cortisol levels will trigger a migraine. So when we know that we have a letdown type headache, we know we need to work on supporting that cortisol production. And that is going to be a key component to their migraine control. The other thing from a timing perspective is, what time of day do your migraines start? Now, sometimes it's completely random and there is no pattern. Okay, that gives us information too, believe it or not. But if it's always that my migraines start first thing in the morning when I wake up, that can be from sleep apnea, that can be from low serotonin levels, that can be from low cortisol levels. So there's actually a handful of things that will contribute to that first waking migraine. Same thing for early afternoon. I always get a migraine around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That can be related to food. So there's something you ate in the morning that contributed to your migraine. It can be blood sugar drops. Have you even eaten today? Or what you had for breakfast because you weren't that hungry or you felt pretty nauseous. Did that cause an insulin spike because all you could get down were some crackers and then your blood sugar dropped? So is it a blood sugar issue? Is it related to cortisol drops in the afternoon? So we have spikes in the morning and drops in the afternoon. So a lot of times it can be from that afternoon drop of cortisol that can trigger migraine. So the timing of the day when the migraine typically hits is also very important to note. Digestive issues, hormone issues, other things that can contribute to those symptoms. So again, this goes along with symptom tracking, but we want to know, what other symptoms do you have? Do you have a lot of allergies? That can point to a problem processing histamine. So we know histamine could be a trigger for you. Do you have problems with gut health? That can be related to diet. That can be related to infection. That can be related to inflammation in the GI tract from antibiotic use when you were a kid that's never been healed. So we want to take a look at that whole system, the whole body, and understand exactly what symptoms are coming up for you that could help us to tune in or to clue in on what's underlying those migraines. And the last thing is the lab work. So kind of tracking what your labs have been doing. What's your thyroid look like? What is your iron level doing? Are you losing a lot of iron or processing a lot of iron? Are your B vitamin levels low, or are they high? Or where are they? What are they doing? So again, tracking what your labs are doing over time can give us information about how quickly your body is utilizing certain nutrients, which again, from a biochemistry standpoint, helps us understand what pathways are involved in the migraines. Because if you're burning through B12 and you're super low, even though you're taking a really high dose, we know, okay, there's an issue going on. Why are you burning through the B12 so much? And we just do a little bit more digging, right? So really understanding kind of that whole picture is key to figuring out the migraines. Now, I know that that was a lot of information, and you're probably trying to figure out, like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because you're not a biochemist, you're not a migraine specialist. You need some help with that, right? So let me offer my assistance in that. So I offer every week, I offer several spots for my whole body assessment. It's a free call. You can sign up for it. The link is actually below in the description. And you're just going to fill out a quick little form for me that's going to be mentioning some of these things. And then we can kind of talk, or I shouldn't say talk, I actually will shoot a video based on that information and share that with you. So here's my assessment of what I think is going on. And that can help you kind of hone in on some of those patterns and what might be happening for you. So it'll give you a little bit more specific information to your particular case. So again, if you want to sign up for that, I have a limited number of spots a week, but you can sign up at the link below for the whole body assessment call. And I'm happy to do that to help you kind of figure out exactly what's going on with your migraines and what that means from the biochemistry and healing standpoint, so you can finally move forward. All right, that's it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll get to them as I can.